So, hey everybody, we back again.
We're back. We're live.
I'm Spencer, and of course we have our licensed clinical therapist, Naz.
Dr. Big Boy Nas. Doctor.
That's his middle name. Big Boy. Big Boy. And this is the Different Spectrums podcast, where we talk about movies, shows, and all the mental health aspects that surround them. We also like to have some laughs, so don't take us too seriously.
Or do. It's up to you.
There you go. Also, don't forget to run up those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it. And also, check out our sponsor, Bubs Naturals. Use our code DSP20 to get 20% off your entire order. They have a lot of good things, a lot of health and wellness stuff. This is MCT oil. I don't know what it does, but it's good.
Jesus.
Yeah, also, don't forget to check out our merch. You can go to our link tree, and it'll be right in there. Anything you want to say, Nas, about the merch?
That beautiful sweater, man. Look at that sweater there. It's a hoodie. It's a hoodie sweater.
Right. That's right. We got some more things coming out. I've drawn some ideas in my phone, so we'll be having some more things come out as well.
Oh, great. That's terrifying.
Yeah, it'll be good. Don't worry about it. But so before we get into anything, we have a special guest today. Her name is Dr. Olympia O'Neill White. Yes, she's joining our pod for today.
Hello, my precious.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me, y'all.
Of course. Glad to have you. Glad to have a different perspective, because that's what we're all about. Perspectives.
A different spectrum.
And
Listen,
a spectrum.
I'm going to try to get you together, give you some female perspective, seeing as, you
What
guys
are
on the other
those?
side, but that's just fine.
Ew. What? She just, I don't want that.
Not the answer. I got to help y'all.
Okay.
Appreciate it. All right. So, show that we're covering today is Queen Charlotte on Netflix. Some topics we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be talking about love. We're going to be talking about bipolar disorder. A little bit of autism in there. A little bit.
Always.
Yes. And we're going to be talking about a few more things, but so we're actually going to have Dr. O break it down for us after we watch the scenes. So, Nas, anything before we get into the scenes?
Super excited to usher in our line of guests, as we said, for June and July. We're starting with Dr. O first. She's going to kick it off. I'm super glad that we actually got this done, and our executive functioning was good enough to pay attention. Yeah. And send out emails and shit. Even though supposedly they all went to spam, but that's a different story for a different day. I always getting curved.
Spam.
I can't get no love.
I apologize for that already.
Cleanest spam folder I've ever seen in my life.
I know. I ain't seen one spam in there. I ain't seen nothing. No hot local singles or nothing in there. It was just empty.
Jesus.
Okay. So the link tree. It's awesome to see a bunch of you clicking on that. So continue to get those free resources, worksheets, all the apps that you can use on your phone for self-help. And then, of course, I have some self-assessment things. Remember, these things can't diagnose you, but they are readily available. I'm not held liable for you doing that shit. But it's all good stuff. So therapists as well, take them, check them out. They're free. And lastly, shout out to New York, Jersey, and Cali. The top three, they have the biggest population, so it makes sense. Well, not necessarily Jersey. But shout out to y'all for watching the pod. And Minneapolis for staying strong is the number one city.
Before we get into anything, I've also noticed when I went to a Rick Ross concert that nobody from the South could say Minneapolis. They're like, Minneapolis. Like,
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. And everybody in the crowd was just like, what the hell are they talking about?
Metropolis.
Minneapolis. Shout out.
Shout out to Bobby. Who the fuck is Bobby? Okay.
Leave my country grandma alone.
Minneapolis, like, grandma, no.
So let's get into the show. Let's check out the scenes brought to you by our promotion by Spencer. Whoop whoop. Let's get into it.
Whoop whoop.
Dr. O, we say whoop whoop now. Sorry.
Oh, whoop whoop.
Thank you.
Go. So there you go. Pop the energy.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, before we get into the show, please check out our collaborator, Bubs Naturals. They sell a variety of health and wellness products, including collagen peptides, MCT oil powder, coffee, apple cider vinegar gummies, and other amazing products. Go to bubsnaturals.com and use our code DSP20 to get 20% off your entire order. I just ordered their apple cider and vinegar gummies, and I'm excited to try them. If you are looking for a high-quality, all-natural health and wellness product, Bubs Naturals is a great option. The company offers a wide variety of items that are designed to improve overall health and well-being. So go check them out, and remember to use our code DSP20 when you check out. And with that, let's get into the show.
A warm meal and a bath must be a balm. You see more yourself. You look better. Do you feel better?
You should not have come.
I was most happy to come.
No.
I am so sorry. I should have come sooner. Do not fear. I shall remain by your side.
No. Charlotte, listen to my words. You should not have come. I do not want you here.
George.
Go back to Buckingham House, please. Do you hear me? I said go back to Buckingham House. That is where you live. That is where you belong. Go. I do not want you. I want never to see you. Leave. Get out! I order you!
No. No, George.
Charlotte!
You cannot force me away. I will not go.
I command it! Go!
I will stay! I command it!
Please, Charlotte, please go.
No.
Charlotte, you are not listening to me.
I am. I have heard that you wish I had not come, that you want me to go, that you do not want to see me.
Charlotte.
What I have not heard is that you do not love me. I have been suffering and alone and believing I am a failure as a wife and as your queen because you stay from me as though I am a disease. And then today it suddenly occurred to me that perhaps there is another reason, a better reason. Perhaps you stay away from me because you care for me. Perhaps you stay away because you love me. Do you love me?
I'm trying to protect you.
Do you love me?
I cannot. We cannot. This conversation isn't. I cannot do
you
this.
Love me?
I never wanted
Do
to
you
marry.
love me?
I never. Charlotte, please stop.
Is it because you do not believe that I could love you? I do. I love you, George. I love you so much that I will do as you wish. If you do not love me, all you have to say is that you do not love me, and I will go. I will go back to Buckingham House, and we can live our separate lives, and I will have this baby alone, and I will make do and fill my days and survive all on my own. I will do that. But first, you have to say that you do not love me. You have to tell me that I am utterly alone in this world.
I am a madman. I am a danger. In my mind, there are different worlds creeping in. The heavens and the earth collide. I do not know where I am.
Do you love me?
You do not wish a life with me for yourself. No one wishes that.
George! I will stand with you between the heavens and the earth. I will tell you where you are. Do you love me?
I love you! From the moment I saw you trying to go over the wall, I have loved you desperately. I cannot breathe when you are not near. I love you, Charlotte. My heart calls your name. I wanted to tell you. I wanted you to know. This madness has been my secret my entire life. This darkness is my burden. You bring the light.
George, it is you and me. We can do this together.
Come, hide from the heavens with me.
Charlotte. Why, hello.
Hello, George.
It is quiet here.
George, we have succeeded. Our son, Edward, he has married and his wife is with child.
Edward is going to be a father.
Yes. Your line will live on.
Our line.
Our line.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fancy meeting you here. You did not go over the wall.
No, George. I did not go over the wall.
And we're back again.
We live. Like, I don't know.
Good one. All right. So before we get into the clips, Dr. O, tell us a little bit about you.
Oh gosh.
How
Okay,
you
well,
doing?
let me tell you something. I'm doing a lot better now that I can be Dr. O and not doctoral candidate. Okay, my hairline is growing back in. Life is great.
Mine.
There you go.
But I am Dr. Olympia O'Neill White. I am a clinical social worker. I specialize in some different things, primarily reproductive health care and perinatal mental health. But I work all over the place with different diagnoses and disorders. I am in the United States military, so I am a military social worker, a little different,
Shout
live
out.
up to the truth. And I also own a consulting company called Through My Lens Consulting Services, where I help social workers, behavioral health folks, obtain that awesome opportunity and secure the bag. I know that there's a lot of social workers that want to get into different spaces that struggle, academia, federal systems, or just working for cool institutions like Yale and Princeton and, Johns Hopkins. I've helped social workers get gigs there. So that's what I do.
Awesome.
And where can we find you?
Oh my goodness. You can find me on social media, the good old Google. All you have to do is look up Through My Lens Consulting Services. And I'm going to be the girl sitting there, with the gold blazer cheesing at you. That's how you know.
Nice. And we'll be sure to link that in the bio and then, link the accounts together so that we can share all this lovely podcasting on your social media.
We're going to share it.
I look forward to
We're going to
getting
share it
that
all
over.
around and near. And yeah, I'm going to stop. But yeah, we're going to share it real good.
All right. And so what made you want to join the pod? Talking to us, a couple of guys.
I know Nas is goofy.
Goofy.
But besides
How dare
that,
you.
I love dissecting shows. It's a little passion of mine, low key.
Okay.
And y'all got a lot of male energy going on right now,
What?
or whatever. But I wanted
Hey,
to
girl. What?
I will
bring
cut
some
you.
feminine energy to the podcast, and talk about one of my favorite shows, Queen Charlotte, that spinoff of Bridgerton. So that's what I'm here for.
Yeah,
I think y'all will learn something today.
probably.
I ain't learning shit.
Be optimistic, Spencer. Be optimistic.
No, he's not
Hasn't
that
worked
kind
well
of
in the
guy.
past.
Yeah,
Not
no.
doing it now.
I'm not gonna lie. My mom was masculine as shit. She would probably beat up most people I know. So like mom didn't play no games. So she was a fucking trooper. But as we know, I'm a large human and I tend to
What?
be very soft and feminine most of the time because people are usually scared of me and I'm of color, so it's a whole thing. So I'm pretty good at code switching. Yeah. But masculine energy, stuff it. Stuff it.
Oh no, I wanted to bring something different, so I'm excited about the talk.
A little Caribbean spice. I'm gonna edit that out because that was wrong.
Caribbean spice. Dom is gonna love that. She's gonna love it.
Dom is
so
his
my
partner.
girlfriend's actually, so she's Jamaican and Trinidadian. So
Oh, not she Trini. Let
Yeah.
us pray. No, I'm picking it.
so here we go. Here we go.
So what's going on with this show? Right, you sent me a list of stuff, and specifically, why did you choose this show? Why are you infatuated with this show? And then kind of lay some of the context, or like what the hell did we just watch? And then me and Spence will start to chime in with our peanut gallery stuff.
Well, yeah. Number one, Shonda Rhimes. Okay. I'm just going to start there. She is taking over the industry. She's doing a lot of awesome things. And she is actually the creator of the show, which is why I kind of got drawn to it in the first place. The original of this show was Bridgerton, and folks loved the actress that portrayed Queen Charlotte so much she ended up getting her own spinoff. It talks about the fact that Queen Charlotte is, and actually historically was, a Black Portuguese woman. So that in itself is kind of interesting. The arranged marriage concept that was going on in the 1800s. It talks a lot about mental health with the king, and what he was struggling with. And it also talks a lot about, those hiccups in new marriages anyway. It literally walks through the day she met her husband to the day she married her husband, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought that was extremely interesting. Not to mention, those good old mother wounds, childhood trauma that the king experiences with his mother. That's depicted in the show. And one of the bigger topics is marriage and mental health. The king obviously has some type of mental health diagnoses, and he's attempting to navigate it alone. But that's not how things work in marriage. So, talking about how marriage and mental health, how to navigate those things as a team, and receive quality treatment and support from your partner.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like their marriage setup, right? I just get the kid, you stay in some other part of the house, and, we're Gucci.
Perfect. Yeah. Stay away from each other. I don't need to see you.
Why are you looking at me in the eye, you son of a bitch?
Why are you looking at me through the window? Close your blinds.
There was a many different nights where, she sat eating dinner by herself and she was OD pissed off about it. So the show is actually mad interesting. It takes place in two different locations, the castle where the king stays and then the castle where he actually has her sent off to, where she's staying. So it's an interesting dynamic.
So it's like a Beauty and the Beast situation right now.
I'm not going to lie. That's what I just told my father before this. I feel like he would be the beast in a lot of these ways with the issues or, quote unquote disformity, which would be the bipolar disorder. Right. And he's hiding away in the castle. I felt a lot of vibes with that. Yep.
Right. That was a perfect comparison. Ooh, I wonder if that's where they got the inspiration from.
Probably.
Maybe that's where they got the. Well, if this is a true story, then or possibly true story, then that. But maybe this is where Disney got the story. Yeah, who knows?
Who knows that?
I mean, it sells. I mean, they're both gorgeous. I mean, that sells itself.
That does work.
Gorgeous.
Oh, Lordy.
Oh, there goes the masculinity. Oh, there it goes. It's right over there.
Oh, my
We're
lantern.
making progress.
Yay. Believe me, you did not need to push that hard. It was just like that.
Gay. No. Okay, I'm done.
Oh my God. Moving on.
Moving on. So give us a little context, right, for what the people just kind of watched in this scene. Instead of Spencer usually does these introductions, I think we wouldn't do it justice because it's not something that we watched. Obviously, I knew it was a big hit. Bridgerton, I knew this was big. Hell, I just seen there's a book, Queen Charlotte, sitting in Sam's Club. If it's a Sam's Club, is big news.
Yeah, he literally just wrote that like a month ago. Like, just put it together, put Queen Charlotte on, it's fine.
See that black woman? Put her in there.
Listen, the FaceTime, she's definitely moving the series forward and getting a lot of traction. I mean, so scene one, right?
Yeah.
What you're seeing is, the queen or Charlotte, kind of coming in. She's enraged and she's kind of having at it with the king, and he's kind of trying to push her off, trying to dismiss her, trying to, create an environment where she becomes upset and kind of leaves, which is what he's kind of going for, right? And she is relentless. She's not letting up. She's kind of staying in that environment with him. And it is all attached to, I think, a fear of him getting close to her, or her getting close to him, rather. Like, okay, you've seen me have a manic episode. Like, it's basically following this. She has now found out that, he's going through these just gruesome and brutal medical treatments with this quack doctor. And so, trying to figure out his diagnosis and manage his symptoms. And she fires the doctor. She says, no, we're not living separately anymore. I'm going to be in your face, in your space all the time. You're just going to have to deal with it. And he's attempting to be as avoidant and dismissive as possible to try to protect her in a literal sense, but I think protect himself emotionally. That's what I think is going on. What you thinking, Nas?
No, I completely agree with how you laid the context, because many of the folks may not have seen this show. I'm sure many of them have, but maybe they haven't. Maybe they will after this. Only thing I've seen of it is the clips that you sent. And so I watched through like those kind of like greatest hits of the 6 episodes. And so I got a lot of the context, like kind of what's going on, because you can piece it together. And I'll get into therapizing it, him and her, in a second. So before we have you talk about the second scene, we'll probably just go ahead and dive right into the first one. Young man, Spencer.
Yes.
King of Toth. I don't know what that means.
Toth.
I don't know. It's from Game of Thrones. I think.
Oh my God.
It's one of those places.
It's probably like the shittiest king ever. Probably like the Kid King.
I mean, the only one that's probably worse is the one from Emperor's New Groove, right?
Emperor's New Groove? Are you talking about Emperor? Oh, I know this.
Yes. The llama.
Kuzma? No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, we're going bad guys. I'm going Aladdin with the creepy dude with the snake staff. I'm going him. Jafar.
Jafar?
Yeah.
If you're going bad guys, that's a tough one.
Because he's trying to be the king.
Hades. Hades number 1 right there.
Hades. Yeah.
It's got bad lazy. I'm just
almost the same complexion for you.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. Blue? Gray? What? Son of a bitch.
What were your reactions watching to this this thing, man?
I mean, I kind of said already, just kind of the comparison to Beauty and the Beast already. Kind of remind me of that, where he wants her in the vicinity, but he doesn't want to be close to her, right? Kind of having like kind of an object in a way of like just kind of looking at it, or looking at her, and then going from there and not really trying to dig a little deeper because he's fearful of what she might think of him, because I think he's more afraid that she might leave rather than on her own will, maybe, instead of him kind of doing it himself and asking her to leave. So that's why he's kind of yelling at her and being like, just go back to the house, instead of like just leaving in general. Because I don't know if at that point there was divorce. I don't think there was. I don't think there was divorce at that point in time. So I wonder if that played a factor. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty intense scene. Pretty intense scene once you look at it. You know,
I told you it was.
Him just being like, "Get away from me! I'm a monster. I'm a monster."
And he literally called himself a monster, right? In that scene.
Yeah.
I'm a beast. You're like, I got it. See, yeah, he said it.
I'm a monster. I'm a danger. You know, just about the things that he sees, and just his distorted thinking, and it was the sabotage for me. It was the self-sabotage. He was attempting to shove her so far away, just like you said, so maybe she leaves by his own sabotage in comparison to her leaving of her own free will. So it was definitely fear.
Totally. And that's kind of the thing is like, Nas is probably going to talk about this a lot more with his clients and stuff, but a lot of the times it's like we want to act like we're going to be better when we're alone, but let's be honest, if she wasn't there, especially helping kind of take care / understanding what, or not really understanding, but kind of just helping him cope with what he's going through, he'd probably be a lot worse if he was just in that kind of isolated state all by himself and not really even talking to anybody. So, and who knows what would have happened if, you know, that quack of a doctor kept on doing like his experiments and stuff on him. So
would have fried his brain. Yeah, would have fried his brain. I was thinking, Spence, when you were talking that, you know, some people will do this thing where I don't want you to go, but I will literally become the worst version of myself to push you away. Now you have an excuse to leave me. So it is self-sabotage, but not subconsciously. It's like very conscious, where I can do this to push you away. Some people don't want it to happen. Some people do want it to happen. He sounded like he was trying to sacrifice. I got other clients that will sacrifice themselves, the relationship, to make sure that the other one is happy because they believe that they themselves are so damaged. And I got some that do it as a game. They will push you away to see if you will push them to break up with them, and thus now there's validated all their fears and insecurities because you left. Look, everyone always leaves me. It's like, yeah, we leaving you because you crazy as shit. Like, you doing all these horrible things, you pushing me away.
Right.
And I said the crazy shit thing, and I'm going to get into a bunch of other things in a second where I do not mean that at all. But right, some people are doing it intentionally, some people do it unintentionally. It depends. And so that's when it comes into that counseling with the person that's in front of you and like picking apart what the hell is going on here. So obviously she needs some counseling to advocate for herself, and he needs some counseling to get rid of what Dr. O said: shame, guilt, the pressure from the parents, the patriarch or matriarchy of what they live in, right? The monarch. It's just a lot. And to be damaged goods, no one likes to be damaged goods, but technically we're all damaged goods. The thing is, can you find beauty in it? Do you find someone that loves you for those flaws? For that genetic mutation or adaptation that it is humanity? We'll get into that in a second. What I think about the scene, you know, you're watching it, and obviously I don't like yelling because yelling invokes some emotions in me. So that's intense. And then he starts to break down and he starts to say, I'm a monster. And he says, the worlds are colliding in my mind. So I thought about a ton of my different clients: anxiety, OCD, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, right? And specifically autism. He says, you don't want to live with me. You don't want this burden. You don't want this monster or beast or pathologies that I have to be transduced or put onto you. You don't want that. I know you don't want that because I don't want this shit. So why would I want you to want this? If I love you, then why would I want you to be with me? Someone that's so fucked up, irredeemable. I get where he's coming from. It's quite romantic, completely flawed, but quite romantic. It's intense. It's a lot of love and passion. She gets him to say, I love you, because she's good. I mean, she's smart as a whip. She's like, I hear all the shit you're saying, but I didn't hear that you didn't love me. So.
And I think there's so much attached to that in itself, you know, like, because at this point in the show, she's seen his manic episode. She's seen him at his absolute, like, I'm outside naked calling to the moon and I've named this bitch.
Tuesday
like,
night.
You know,
tell you what.
She has seen the worst of what those episodes can look like. And it's almost like there's just a level of respect that you have to give that she chose to love him as he is, knowing the symptomology, knowing, you know, the challenges that they may face, or having a good idea of what it could look like, you know. And I think there was a lot of strength in him honestly saying what his fears were. I know you don't want this. You don't deserve this. I love you. So you know, I'm not going to volunteer this type of thing for you. But for her, it was the exact opposite. Because I love you, I'm going to walk this path with you. You know, you're worried about the worlds colliding. I'm going to tell you exactly what world you're in. I'm going to support you while we're going through this. So I think that in itself, it kind of speaks to that love being determination, love being a choice, it being a lot more action oriented than just a feeling.
So tell me something, Doc.
What you got, man?
Why she love him? Why would anyone love someone like that? Because specifically, why does she love him? Do you know? And if she does, or you do know, I can relate that to everyone else that's listening, because all of us deal with this issue. Every single person on this podcast has a fear that there's something wrong. I don't care how confident you are, how pretty you are, how much money you have. All of us have a little bit of like, you look in the mirror and you're like, bleh. It's a vibe. Spencer's like, no, I don't. I'm like, yeah.
Here we go. Oh, let me tell you something. I remember back in 2014, you was acting real funny.
Yeah, I seen it in your jiggle.
I mean, it's loaded, but at the same time, it's so simple of a response. The reality is there's someone out here for everybody, regardless of the lived experiences you have, the trauma you've endured, the medical diagnosis or mental health diagnosis you're navigating. There is someone for everyone. And I find it extremely interesting that Queen Charlotte, you know, even though sure, this is a, you know, fake made up show, it has a lot of historical roots and truths. Queen Charlotte actually was, you know, this Black Portuguese woman that was married, had an arranged marriage to King George, who actually did have a real life mental health diagnosis. Like it was a whole thing. And there are a lot of couples that are navigating things like that now today. Yep. Whether we're talking about, you know, mental health concerns, whether we're talking about insecurities, or shoot, just simple imposter syndrome of all people, you gonna choose me? Like there's a lot of folks up out here. I'm sure there's a woman that look better than me and you are for some reason staring in my face. I would encourage folks to consider looking at themselves from the eyes of their partner. You know, like what? Ask the question. If you truly want to know, ask, why did you choose me? Hear the things about, because I feel like people have, it's so much easier to recall crap about yourself than it is to recall the good things.
Yep.
Or like, it's so much easier. I think it's easier to stare in a mirror when you're actually goal oriented, like to doing something. Some people have a problem actually seeing themselves on a regular basis. And I think that's attached to a lot of insecurity or just social grooming around, you know, humility and this and that. And the reality is you fall in love with yourself first. And then once you do that, it's so much easier to span that love outward. And I think Queen Charlotte had the privilege of knowing her worth, her value, and loving herself and being able to stretch that out to her man.
I'm with it. I'm going to take it a step back. I don't even need you to love yourself. I don't even need you to be happy. I just need you to not hate yourself. I'm shooting for content with a lot of my clients. I'm shooting with, can we just not want to die? Can we believe that there's something maybe possibly one day, 10 years from now, after this or that you might have a chance, a percentage of being happy? And if I can get a client to say yes, I'm like, haha, fucker, gotcha.
There's some hope.
There's. I remember a conversation with a human, and
a human in comparison to another species. But go ahead.
I always say human, and as my clients say, "Why do you always say human? Is it because of this gender stuff?" I said, "No, you asshole. I just like saying human."
All right, didn't need to go to the asshole. Just asking a question.
Well, I tend to be volatile, so I might need therapy. Yeah. The teddy bears ain't working.
They don't love me.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm pushing them away.
Maybe you're the beast in the situation. And your little plushy toys are like the little household things that talk.
Yeah, they are household things that talk. Very hairy is the thing. Smell.
Oh my god! All right.
So I was talking to this human, and I said, "I'm just trying to get you to a place to be proud. Look. You're good now. Last week you felt like death, but this week, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, you're good. You're like, look at all these steps that you took, the process that you took, the advocacy that you did. You ate some crow, aka meaning the metaphor is you ate some shit, aka meaning you went and had to suck up to some people that you didn't want to. You had to have a conversation with people that you didn't want to and apologize. You did what you needed to do to succeed." And now you come back to me pretty solid and you have a different perspective. I said, "Aren't you proud?" She said, "Proud? No, I never say that word." "Why wouldn't you say that word?" "Because that's a sin. Pride is a sin." I said, "Okay. So you can just never be proud because it's in the Bible and that's how you've been trained?" He said, "Yes, but technically worry is a sin as well. And so now I'm stuck. Either way, I'm sinning." I said, "Yep, you're fucked." So which one do we die with? Do we die with the worry or do we go with the pride? Well, I don't want to be this proud person, this narcissistic person. I want to be humble and well-mannered. I said, "I didn't ask you to go preaching this shit out in the streets and treating people terribly. That's not who you are. I asked you in this moment, in my office, held by confidentiality, are you happy with the output, the things that you did last week?" "Yes." "So you're proud." Well, I wouldn't say that. Having conversations with neurodivergent folks sometimes is heartwarming. That's the word I'll use.
Sure.
It's the struggle. I mean, because I think back to clients that I've worked with, historically, and I think about, some of those tougher diagnoses that folks kind of just scan over, especially when we're talking about adults, right? ADHD. And how, unmedicated, no therapy, and living with that diagnosis can look very different than what it's portrayed as for a third grade kid, a second or third grade kid, right? And so, just kind of supporting folks in seeing themselves or seeing the possibilities of what is possible for their life beyond their symptomology. I remember once upon a time working with someone who truly the concern, I can't even do daily tasks. It takes me, weeks to prepare to do something simple, and my partner is perfect. They have this, they have that. They, are able to complete tasks in a timely manner. I don't even know why they're hooked up with me, and just kind of going in this merry-go-round of, I'm not going to say negativity, but just self-doubt, reduced self-worth and value, So sometimes it looks like showing them, hey, this is what it can look like for you to be successful with your diagnosis. I love referring my clients on the spectrum to Atypical. I love that show. I love referring my clients to a Good Doctor. Seeing, and so they can see that there are folks with challenges that are navigating life, and it might not be perfect, but they're navigating life successfully. So I think even this show with Queen Charlotte, and the King and the Queen, navigating relationships, intimate relationships with, a mental health diagnosis. It's not perfect, but
No.
it's very possible. And you can see happiness and success in it. So, yes.
Yep. It's a thing. And so the human, she goes, I don't see how this could work out with me being happy in the future with like a romantic partner. I said, well, why not? And then we talk about the reasons on why they are defunct, broken, damaged, worlds colliding in their head, the specificities in which they need in their life to function appropriately. And so I'm going to diverge the conversation from his bipolar disorder, where many of my neurodivergent clients feel like they are too much, or they are not enough, or they're OCD, borderline personality, bipolar, schizophrenia, whatever it is. The worlds are colliding in their head almost all the time for some. And the emotions are too. And so it can be very deregulating. And to have a partner that's regulated, that's calm, so maybe more chill, more well put together like the Queen, and then to be him, King George, where you're like, fuck, you don't want this. And so I remember I had a client, they said, months went by, maybe a year went by, and they came back on my roster, and I seen it on the schedule, and I smiled. And they sat in my office, and I said, after we got done talking, because it was kind of weird, I said, were you nervous about coming back? They said, yeah. I said, why? I failed you. So what the fuck are you talking about? He said, I was broken. I'm obviously back here in your office, which means I am no good at this. I'll never be better. I will always need something. I will always have these breakdowns, these anxiety attacks, these frustrations, these inappropriate relationships where I can't figure out how to function in people around others. I said, nah, homie, that's not what it is. And I thought about you. I smiled. I couldn't wait to fucking see you. And do you give me a headache? Yes. But I couldn't wait to see you in my office. They said, why would you say that? Because the person that you are is just heartwarming. Some humans you meet are just like, this is a good person. Well, I'm a good person. I can't quantify why exactly you're a good person, but I see who you are. I see all these good qualities, but you only point out the shitty ones. I got other clients, and me and Spence, we were in the production show before this, they have breakdowns. And, they deregulate, and they have pretty bad crying spells. Pretty bad. And they get real negative, and maybe they'll start to self-stimulate, and they'll start to hit themselves. Sometimes it could be in the forehead. I've seen it. It can get ugly. And their partner's like, hey, I can't be with you anymore if you're going to keep doing this. I sent you the nods. You were getting better, but, we still have our spells. And she goes, what's the point? What's the point? I might as well just drop out and quit. What's the point of doing this? I said, well, no, you're not quitting your fucking degree. No, we're doing this fucking PhD. You're getting ready to get tore off. You already got the job locked up. You owe me 10% of that shit. Like, let's be cool. Let's be for real now.
Listen. Okay.
And it's the worst I've seen this person cry ever. It's because they believe that they were so messed up that who would ever want to be with them, even though they found love. They never thought they would find love, but they did. So that means that they can replicate it because they found it. Because before you didn't even think there was a human, but then you found the human. So you already know this is bullshit what you're saying because you found it. And now you're a better person and you're healthier and you just don't dysregulate as much. And you got a fucking job. And you're not in a school that's oppressive as shit and you can actually do what you need to do and set more firm boundaries. But you will need a therapist. For you specifically, you would need a therapist to talk things out. What's wrong with that? As a neurodivergent individual, for the shit that you're going through, are you crazy? No. I said, you sat down in my office today, we had coffee. And we talked. And then you cried, and then I cried. Big fucking deal. Soon you won't need me or people like me, but you deserve love. I said, I got a lot of love for you in this office. You don't see me making fucking coffee for everyone in here. Ain't your goddamn butler. And the human smiles. I think that many of us need to look at this scene, and we can use this to relate in this scene to we're not as damaged as we think that we are. Spence, I talked to another human a couple weeks ago. And I said, would you date yourself? She's like, I don't even know. And I was like, me? Fuck no. I'm not dating me. And then, but then I said, what version of me? Because am I putting on the show and being funny, or am I just being the more hyper-focused, very quiet, just on the laptop grinding? Like, which version? And so we had some really long conversations on would they date themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Question for both of you. Would you actually date yourself? And not a narcissistic way, and we're not talking about any sexuality stuff. Like, if you were, the other person, whatever, would you date yourself? For me, I don't know. I think I would be attractive in many ways.
Because, I look good.
I wasn't even going there. Shit, I was going like...
I'm funny.
I mean, I sit there and I think about it and I'm like, would I date myself? I think what you kind of hit the nail on the head with depends on what version of me.
Yes.
Because, once upon a time, I was that person who had those insecurities and lacked that confidence and things of that sort. And I could only imagine being the person that I am today, interacting with that person. It would not work out. It would not work out, right?
Oh, hell no.
It would not, right? Which I think we can even relate to the scene there where it's like, the queen quite literally was accepting him for who he presented as in that moment. Correct. She wasn't necessarily falling in love with or romanticizing the situation. It was quite literally, do you love me? If you love me, I know that I love you and I'm willing to deal with it. This is my threshold. This is what I'm willing to deal with. It's kind of like choice, and in so many ways, he was trying to take that choice from her by trying to keep her safe. But the reality was she was making that choice and she was choosing him. So would I choose myself? If we're talking about old Olympia, absolutely not. Today, I might consider it because, she kind of fly.
Here you go.
Maybe. I mean, just for the laughs, just for the laughs, Pretty funny. Just for the voices.
Yeah, I feel like.
Now, are these voices in your head?
Maybe. Ooh.
Yeah. Head.
Diving deep.
Stomach. They're there.
Stomach, ass, whatever. Oh. But yeah, I don't know. Probably. I mean, it's
a weird question.
I think I have a good sense of humor. Yeah, it's a weird one because it's like, once you like internally look at things, but at the same time, it's like, even with your partners, you don't show everything like all at once. You always kind of, steadily show them like who you are and things like that. And so, I mean, probably.
It depends on the entities and what time and place. So I use this exercise to diverge. Same thing I do with OCD. Some of my folks are neurodivergent. What we do with eating disorders, we take bits of them and we set them aside. You do not identify as your disorder. He does not. I am not just a bipolar person. I'm a person that happens to be bipolar, but I'm loving, I'm kind, I'm funny, I can cook, I smell good, shit, I'm gorgeous, whatever it is. Right? You're helpful. You're a good son, father, a king, whatever. You're intelligent. You like puns, whatever. You look kinky. Whatever it is. There you go. Let me stop. Because I just had a lot of visuals of just candles burning on me.
Just stop it. Just stop it. Don't even say that. Why would you say
Little
that?
Nicky. I just had Little Nicky scenes.
Shut up.
I'm done.
Keep going.
I'm
Jesus.
done. And so you can love someone and love bits and parts of their, the issue or disorder too. You love all of them. You don't just hold one subsection, one category against them. Could that be a con? Yes, it's a con because you know it comes with issues. You know, dealing with bipolar disorder, mania, you have to be on medication to help you regulate. This is not me like saying, oh, you should. No, you need to be because it's a degenerative issue, which will get worse and worse and worse over time if not medicated, not treated with therapy to help them bring down the mania, because the mania will allow them to be much more risky and hurt themselves, most likely themselves, not really others, but themselves. And I do that with clients all the time. This is one thing. They could love you for so much. There's so much to you than just this one thing. You're not just an athlete. You're not just a shut up and dribble like me and Spence have talked about on here, and how we treat a lot of black folk basketball, football players or women. You're not just one thing. So why are we just saying that no one will ever love you because of this one thing? Now, if you're being trashed because of your issues, your mental health issues, and you're making suicidal gestures all the time, and you're manipulating people, and right, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not functioning well, then okay, we need to get you in a healthier place. I didn't say cure. I don't believe in cure. We just learn how to manage our shit. But if you can get into a healthy place where you're not hurting your partner, so if they have to support you because you cry and break down, who gives a fuck? That's a relationship. Reciprocity. You will help them. Well, they're always helping me. Well, get that fucker to open up so we can start providing some support for them at times.
Right.
But they're always helping me and thus they're tired. Do you know that? Have you talked to them about this?
Communication with mental health and intimate relationships is so important. And sometimes it starts simply at disclosure, which seems to be one of the toughest things to do. Just being able to, disclose, hey, this is my situation. This is, a part of my journey. Is this something, and giving choice. Hey, this is the situation. This is what I have or what I'm dealing with. Is this something that you're able to navigate with me or in the relationship, And at the end of the day, people have choice, right? So you could produce the information, or, put the information out there and, they say, hey, I don't have the bandwidth for this. And if that's the case, okay, wonderful. Please don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Like, allow that to kind of allow that person to rotate out. So the person that's meant for you rotates in. There is no perfect person walking this earth, like not one, regardless of the degrees, the disorders, the whatever. There's not one perfect person. So everybody's going to have their shit. And it's kind of, everyone has their baggage. And to a certain extent, it's up to the other person to decide if that's luggage they want to support you in carrying or not.
It is. And it's about what do they find appealing to you? And I get the self-love thing. I just want you to be kind of content with some things. And then you'll demand respect because you will be content with who you are and what you want, what your needs are. And if someone doesn't love you for some of these other things, these tertiary things, it is what it is. You will find other people that will love you for the whole entity of you and not just disqualify you because this one thing. As long as you're making strides to be healthy. I didn't say fix. I didn't say well. I didn't say perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. And Spence, so as soon as Spence starts shaking his head, I was like, what perfect individuals are there? And then I thought of the scene from Ted Lasso when they start listing all those perfect things. They're like, nothing's perfect.
Except for Jaws.
I think about Barbie. That's going to sound really dumb, but I think about Barbie and Ken when I think perfect. And last time I checked, both them bitches.
No genitals.
So, correct. Both them bitches plastic.
Hey.
And I'm dropping a whole new movie about how imperfect Barbie is anyway.
Oh, there you go.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's like a new Barbie movie with, what's her name?
Maggie Robert?
Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Harley Quinn, yes. The one that played Harley Quinn.
So Maggie and then Ryan Reynolds. So as soon as you said perfect, I thought of them as well. Yeah. And all the pink.
I think Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Or
that came out. Yeah. There's not a thing. We're all flawed. We're all miraculously flawed. And somehow those worlds will collide with other people's worlds. He used that quote in there. The reason why I picked these scenes, you specifically picked the show, you showed me the scenes, I picked these scenes, I deal a lot of caseloads with this. A lot of caseloads with this where people are just like, I'm trash. And let me tell you why I'm trash. And I'm like, okay. And then they keep going, and they list all the negatives. And then I try to get them to list some positives, right? And it goes blank. The roster's blank. So me and Spence just did a pod on Ted, 3 pods on Ted Lasso. And remember that scene where he talks about his dad who committed suicide, his dad. Tell me what you loved about him. Remember that scene?
Yep.
That seems to be so hard for people to say anything good about anyone, or themselves. But then he just started spewing stuff. And then he talks about how much he loved his father. And maybe if he told his father he loved him just a little bit more, maybe he wouldn't have hurt himself. That's a lot for a little boy to have on his shoulders. But maybe you can love yourself. And maybe you will hate yourself, but you can have both of those at the same time. This is not black and white. You can hold both of these contemplations, these ideas, these thoughts and beliefs at the same time. The question is, can your therapist get you there? Can you start to recognize some shit that maybe you're good at one thing? And I think this is a wonderful scene and show to talk about love. Love is not unconditional. I don't think that's really a thing that exists. There's conditions on your children. There's conditions on everything. Some people have more. Some people have less. In a relationship, there will be more. For your children, there'll be a little bit less. As long as you don't murder anyone or become super fucking terrible. Then your parents will be cool.
Yeah, they're fine. All right.
Yeah.
Cool people.
I mean, as my father would say all the time when I left the house, don't do nothing I wouldn't do. Well, if you know my father, he would do a lot of crazy shit. And so he's incarcerated for 9 years too. So he's like, hey man, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Just don't get caught. But no, if you come home and you fuck it up, I won't say anything. I'll look at you and you'll know that this was wrong. Never had to tell me anything because I would never disappoint. I never do that. Even though I did fuck up a lot of things, and I never intentionally meant to disappoint. And so we would just look at me and that'd be it. And that'd be it. And then there'd be some coaching. Maybe the next day, a couple days later, and then it'd be the same repetitive fucking sentence over and over for 15 years. Me as a therapist. Me being very repetitive. Clients would be like, Nas, I got it. You don't have to tell me again. We're going to go over this shit one more time. One more time, just in case the FBI.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, FBI, come and ask you some questions now. We're going to go over this shit one more again. And then as soon as I ask them to report back, this is funny but real. They'll go to the doctor, they'll go to this therapy, they'll go to whatever it is. And they're like, so why'd you come here today? Nas told me to come. Motherfucker, that's not what we went over. I told you exactly what to say, word for word, and your explanation was Nas told me I needed to be here.
This bald Mexican Arab told me.
Yeah. The big
Genie?
man.
That one guy.
I told my client the other day, and this is funny, and we'll get back on track here. I said, I know how it was like the Michael Jordan scene that we broke down from the mayor. I know exactly how this is going to go. This is going to play out with your doctor I'm sending to you in the community. You're going to say this. They're not going to give you anything. You will counter with this. They will ask you, how do you know about this? You will say your therapist. They will give you something else, not what you asked for. And it happened just like that. And they said they gave me Lexapro. I said, it's a really good medicine. I like that medicine. Works with a lot of my clients. Low side effects, no sexual dysfunction issues, what a lot of my clients report with most of the other antidepressants. I wanted them to talk more to the doctor about Prestige. I get it. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not prescribing anything. I don't have that fucking power. But I also know it works well with my clients with their symptomology. So I push them to advocate for themselves when they go into the doctor. And of course the doctor goes, why? That's not what he should be doing. But then I'm really glad that your doctor asked you to get medication. Yeah, my client is anxious as fuck and can't operate. Help them. So we talked about advocating. We talked about people of color. Some of these doctors, just because they're skin folk doesn't mean they're kinfolk. And so my client goes, well, there's someone of color too, same ethnicity. I'm not going to give away the ethnicity. I said, I ain't going to lie. I had the worst luck with people that are Arab as my doctor. The best luck has been with black women or white women, not men. They've been more caring, empathetic, compassionate. Some of the other folks, not as much. With my fellow Arabs, is not as much. So I told my father, we got to get away from these folks, man. They're looking at us wrong. They're contextualizing things wrong. Does that go for everyone? No. I'm just saying don't always pick your doctor because it's the same ethnicity or same gender. And you can doctor shop. So I told my client, I said, well, it looks like we're going shopping. Because you like your OBGYN, you like your gastrointestinal doctor, but this doctor's treating you poorly. And it's not because they didn't give you what you didn't want. You asked them for multiple things and they told you to go fuck yourself. And you already had a bad day at work. And so now you're going to go pay a doctor $150 some to go help you with your stomach issues and anxiety, and then they shit on you? Nah, we don't play that game.
Listen, I find it, I think, I appreciate you saying doctor shop, because I'm like, well, listen, and it's the same thing with a provider, right? Like, everybody doesn't map out. When I honestly saw this show, I was sitting there and I felt, as a provider, I was like, yo, there's so many things wrong with this quack ass doctor. There are so many things wrong in this moment. And if only he had the ability to see just the awesomeness that was available in today's society, you know, what his health would have looked like, him being able to function and really addressing those issues. But I guess I say all that to say, just for listeners, like, listen, and not every therapist is for you. Not every provider is for you. And sometimes you have to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 17 bad ones, to
hey, if you go,
find the one that's meant for you.
I think
that's
the word would have gotten out by then.
I'm just saying, sometimes you have to go through and figure out, you don't really mesh with my style. You too straight face. You laugh too much. Sometimes you have to figure out what works.
I think it might be a little too strict there.
Yeah. Listen, if you go through 17, let me be honest, you're the issue.
yeah. Let's be honest. You go through like 5, it's like, damn.
You go through 5 and they all said the same thing. Bitch, you crazy? You probably crazy.
Okay,
I'm joking.
I'm just saying.
I 100% agree.
Nowadays, we have the power of choice and opportunity. We talk about folks that live in more remote areas, more isolated. Don't throw out the idea of telehealth, teletherapy, things of that sort. It's definitely available and out there. So,
funny side story. Real quick side quest. Working with couples, and they saw a provider for couples therapy, and my boy Arab, and he goes, you know what? Yeah, I didn't like that white lady. She said just get divorced, and I'm like, okay. So I hear him out, listen to this and that. And I say, so I don't really know what you're coming for me for. Just because she was white doesn't mean that she was wrong. Because I don't see how you fixing this. This is bad. This is real bad. And he cracked up with me. He cracked up. And I told the other therapist, I said, by the way, when the clients tried to shit on you, I had your back. And I said, she might be white as a ghost, but she was spot on with this one. I don't know how to get you out of this one, brother. Oh, she white and redheaded.
Ghost?
Oh, she wanted to.
Oh, a leprechaun. I gotcha.
Yeah. She get burned just thinking about the sun.
Perspective had nothing to do with each other on that one. I was right.
No, her race, ethnicity, gender had nothing to do with that one. This is bad.
Did you want him to go get a pot of gold?
The pot of gold was the divorce certificate.
Fucking Irish people, get the fuck out of my face.
So. As we look at this, let me look at my list. We've talked about many of these things on here. The last thing was pretty much, and we talked about it, really the shame and guilt that he withholds. And so why people don't want to come out with things. They'll put on the face that everything is done, well put together, professional, articulate, eloquent. At some of these shows, if you look at the show, because I just finished it because I want to do one scene from it. The Marvelous Miss Maisel on Amazon that won some awards. And the first season, she's putting on makeup before she even wakes up so her husband can see her perfect, beautiful. So if you feel like you need to mask that much, and obviously that show is shot in the 60s. Obviously it's inappropriate.
Been doing it. There are still, I can't even say, there are still people doing that.
I believe it. Oh, 100%. You put on that show. And I think that's what he was trying to do, and that's what was killing him. He was pushing him away from someone that truly loved him for him. And then it almost makes you think, well, they must be fucking crazy, because why would they love me? So I need to break up with this person because they're fucking idiot. Don't fall for the trap. Consult, talk, write in your journal. don't just sit in there with all the craziness in your head. And if you are bipolar and having manic issues like depicted in the story, seek professional help. It can be helped out. I know many of you are going to enjoy the mania because it's fun and you're excited and you're happy and you don't fucking sleep and maybe you're doing a ton of drugs and having a ton of sex. It's all fun stuff. Yeah, woohoo. It will destroy many of your relationships. It will lead to very poor outcomes in the future, degenerative things. So let's cycle on over now that we talked about autism, ADHD, executive functioning, marriages, communication. Let's cycle on over to that second scene and then let's start to wrap her up. Well, wrap this up.
Yeah.
I don't want to wrap her up.
Wrap her
I mean,
up.
she's pretty though, so
She's a present now.
yeah. I mean, if is it a 2-for-1 deal? Let me stop.
I'm gonna bring my tea.
She drink. She looks those big eyes you have, Dr. O.
My.
Yeah, I'm gonna drink my tea. But I mean, with the second scene, you see her walking in and she's excited. She's ready to share this stuff with her husband, and he is actively in a manic state. He is writing on the walls. He's talking to himself. He is actively there and tuned in. He is clocked in. And she's attempting to bring him back, realizing, yeah, he's not receptive to me right now. And you see the frustration at first, which makes sense because damn, if I'm trying to get your attention to tell you about my great day and you up here talking about the solar system and drawing on damn walls, I'll be mad too. But, she took that moment, she got frustrated, but then she remembered how to reach him. She remembered, at the end of the day, he needs to be grounded. He has to be brought out of this. And she got on the floor and waited for him. And he recognized that and got down there with her, which was interesting because it was the exact same thing that she had learned to do back when they were younger and she had no idea about the diagnosis, So just kind of laying there with him and then divulging all the information, telling him about the great news, and he's back, he's here, he's dialed in talking to her, and just watching that communication and the flashbacks to their youth. It was beautiful. It was tear worthy. If I didn't love the show so much, I definitely would have had that Denzel glory tear because it was
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like just watching them interact. The Denzel glory tear, yes, that is
the context of the Denzel glory tear slightly different. He wasn't really like looking at a Netflix show. He was getting whipped.
Okay, don't be disrespectful. Netflix is on. They are on it with these shows, but I mean, just I don't know. I guess being like serious, like you got to see her accepting him as he was, and not only accepting him, but meeting him where he was. And seeing how long their relationship lasted and all them going from him having manic episodes, howling at the moon in the moonlight naked in their youth and yelling and screaming about not being together to now they're in this, elderly state. They're older. They have adult children. They now have grandchildren coming. They've lived this full life. And just kind of watching them still have that love and respect for each other, even though the mental health concerns are still there. It was awesome. So get with somebody that is going to accept you for who you are and meet you where you are.
Meet you where
That's
you are. Yeah, I think the most powerful part. So I learn while other people are talking, so I just like sitting and talking. If I don't remember to move my face and to oh yeah, you're making sense and nod, then I can look very like just zone the fuck out. So I tend to have to remember to use facial expression because my kind of like, are you mad at me? No, why? What happened? You're just staring off into space. Oh, I was paying attention. What was I talking about? Side quest. I remember being at science camp for only minorities, poor minorities. And it's where I met one of my homies, a lot of my homies actually. And I'm completely zoned out, playing in my chair, having fun. Professor thinks I'm not paying attention. Nazir, what's the answer? 7. And everyone's like, what the fuck? I mean, no one knows that I'm neurodivergent at the time or ADHD. I'm just doing my own thing in my own world. And like I'm fully on it. this is actually not as advanced as it should be. And so I'm going to play in my world. And then I came back. So in this, he's grounded by her. So you can use a lot of these tactics when you're working with clients for anxiety management, meditation, different skills. You use a visual or a thing that grounds you, or maybe specifically getting onto the ground or getting into this type of position or comfortable place in the bed, like curling up like a fucking potato. I don't care what you do, like a burrito. I was thinking what was the coolest part is the flashback between current version of them, old, past version of them, right? Like the teenager. And so, right, there's the beauty of what they see in each other, what they saw in each other. I was also thinking about how me as a clinician, they see this old, decrepit self when they look in the mirror, bipolar, manic, dissociated, crazy shit being thrown at the wall inside their mind. And then you see me that looks at them with this young, energetic, vivacious, loving, kind, empathetic, highly intelligent, gorgeous individual that sits in front of me. They don't see it. They only see this older version, this broken version, but yet I see all the goodness. And that's my question, people. Why do I see this when I see you? Why do I smile when you walk through the door, even though I know you will cry in session? Or maybe you even be angry at me in session. But why do I see this? Why do other people see these good things in you? Are we all wrong? Childhood trauma. Maybe the people in your childhood were right. Maybe you were terrible, and maybe anxiety and all your fears. But maybe fuck them and you listen to me for once. But who am I?
I don't know. I think there's a thing with social learning, you know? Like when you even think about it, why did he call himself a monster? Why do a lot of clients look at themselves and they struggle to like see themselves in another light outside of negative? Or in another light outside of being, you know, a burden to those that they're around. And it's like, okay, yes, to a certain extent, some of this shit was learned, you know,
Correct.
Like during this time period, particularly, you know, having a mental health diagnosis and being in such a position of power and, you know, opportunity, you know, in such a position of privilege. I couldn't even imagine what that thing was like, you know, that false sense of perfection that you have to carry all the time. And I mean, technically, you can even reflect it back to just being the average Joe here in the United States, the land of the free, home of the broken bougie, depending on the day, you know, like for some reason, there's this sense of perfection that people are seeking, and social media has not helped. So it's like, it's hard to shift your perspective if all you've been socially groomed to understand is that you need to wear your mask because you're imperfect, but the mask has to be perfect. You know? I just think that
very articulate. And the thing is
through it.
We have black and brown folks that are code switching all the time. We have women that are code switching all the time. We have gay folk that are code switching all the time. But now let's tie into some of those intersectionalities where we have folks that are neurodivergent code switching all the time on top of those identities. So now it is overwhelming. It is devastating. So when they come back home at the end of the day, they are deregulated or they can't function at a 9 to 5. One of my clients, I love this human to death. I don't agree with her on many things, but I love them to death. They actually quite often frustrate me. And she said, do you think I can actually work a 9 to 5? I said, yes. But they will have to be appropriate in the way they treat you and speak to you. But this has happened now in multiple jobs. Multiple jobs that people have sucked that you've worked with. But what if it is me? Some of it is you, but also much of it is them. It is them. Because other people are reporting the same issues, and thus it can't just be you. It's happening to other women in the facility. So let's check our reality. Check your realities. If you talk with someone or you consult with coworkers, other people in the family, don't be afraid to speak up. Please speak up. Spence, I got a funny one for you. Oh, I'm starting to lose it. Oh, there it is. Do you ever look at your love? Do you ever look at Dom? And then Dr. O, same goes for you. Do you ever look at your partner and you're like, and you flash back to like the youthfulness of who they used to be and like the joy, and you're sitting there, or do you ever look at them like, you poor fucking anxiety riddled son of a bitch, I love you.
Jesus Christ.
Do you ever look?
Really feel.
Yeah. Do you ever look at them? I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Do you ever look at someone like that and you flashback? I don't know.
What are you asking?
Do you ever look at them like on how she does, where she flashes back and they see him as this person? Probably not.
We've been together for almost 3 years. That's nothing.
Did you ever go back to the first days when you're like, I remember those pigtails?
You know what?
Such a dumb question.
You know what? He said this question. I can't do this question. So I will admit, ever so occasionally, right? Because I mean, me and my friend, it's almost been 5 years together, 4 years married, and I will admit, ever so occasionally, I will see that same weirdo in middle school that told me that he loved me and he was going to marry me.
Oh, there you go.
You know, the same one I cussed out, right? Sometimes I will see that kid.
Facts.
And, you know, just kind of thinking about life and how far we've kind of come from where we started. So maybe once or twice, you know, but I will admit, it doesn't happen like that all the time. It's not like movie. It's not, you know.
It's not a movie flashback. I get it.
Type thing.
I get it.
None of us are 70, you idiots.
Hey, you know, maybe it's a flashback, you know. I don't know. I don't know how this shit works.
Hey, remember last year when I met you? Flashback. That was a great time. It's changed ever since. You ain't shit since then. Get the fuck out of here.
Right? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I wouldn't say flashbacks where I look at the person. Now I have nostalgic moments where I'll reflect on those moments when I'm storytelling, because I storytell a lot unless I have to relive the visual. So I'm literally in the moment walking through it when I retell stories. So I can never really control the emotions. So they always come up. One specifically just for me and Spence is when we were sitting at the Capitol on a vacation and we're just sitting there looking at the geese and the ducks and the shit everywhere. But it's pretty cool.
This is a great moment.
Oh, it was like midnight, 1 a.m. and we're just sitting there chilling, vibing, and we're just talking and having a good time. Remember the scene with Colin in Alaska up on a mountain, right? Him with his kid. Like, just so there's certain moments where you remember and visualize and it brings you back to this thing. But it's not necessarily when you look at them, you see like a different version. But specifically the grounding and you meeting people where they're at.
Right.
If I'm looking back all the friends, every single friend I've ever had has pretty much been the same context as me and Spence, me and Colin, me and Mike. It's always been about the same: food, athletics, shit talking, and then quietness. Sometimes I never even paid attention to it. I'll be talking to my best friend on the phone a long time, right? And we'll just talk and he just got the camera on the baby. I'm not saying anything. My dad hops on the camera. I love you so much, baby Everly. And he'll be saying all this baby talking, all that shit. And I get on the phone. I'm just staring at the kid. Right. And Colin, I'm like, damn, am I an asshole for not saying anything? And no, Colin, he just, no, this is just that's who I am. I don't know what the fuck to say. Yeah, I make funny noises. You know, I do them.
You took him away from me.
Yeah. Meeting where people were at. I like the way you said that. That could go with friendships as well. I want my folks listening to friendships as well. Keep that in mind, folks. We're not just only talking about romance here. We're talking about even platonic love. We're talking about with family members and setting boundaries and meeting people where they're at, and getting you to love yourself so then you can advocate for shit with your professors, boss, whatever it is. Like if you think that you are disabled, when I was speaking with the Indianapolis NFL Colts the other day, we need to get away from disabled speech. We need to get away from I am completely broken and unshattered. That's the only reason I should go to therapy. No, you're going to therapy to do an oil change, to talk some shit out real quick. It's just a fucking conversation. You're just one person sitting in front of me having a talk, so that's it. But you are not fundamentally broken, and nor do you need to be talking to me. And so as soon as you get to accept that, now you can set better expectations for everyone. And I'm not saying that everyone has to look at you with love and like this deep intimacy, right? I mean, Spence probably, only times he sees me look like that deep, passionate love is when he sees that fresh plate of food sit down in front of me and he's like, this motherfucker.
Yep. Completely quiet. Doesn't speak anything.
Not an ounce.
Only time he's fucking quiet. That's when he's got food in front. You see if he's got like some dumpling soup in front of him. He's just nothing. All you hear is
That's it. And I'm going to town on some soup. Let's not even start on soup.
I know.
Yeah, I'm fucking hungry thinking about it. I just had 4 bowls yesterday.
Jesus Christ,
Also,
so much
the soup is the reason why I probably have insecurity issues with like dating people. You know, it's like there's substance there and it gets you, but you never really get full, right? I date people and I never really get full. You know what I'm saying? There's something there.
You don't do it for me. All right?
Yeah. You're like soup. You know, I really don't understand you. You're satiating, but not
pizza.
filling. Right. Yes. Yeah. All you do is make me bloated.
It's good for you. It just looks good and tastes good.
Hey, may not be good, but it fills you up.
It fills you up. It fills up my cup. I'm dead. Yeah. My relationships have been like a good soup. You know, it's just bloating and you pee a lot.
Jesus Christ. And on that note,
okay. Spence, you got anything else to add or no?
I'm good. Dr. O, do you have anything else to add?
God, I'm still stuck on the soup comment.
There you go. You'll be stuck on it for a while. Believe me, he does that. He does that.
I stick to you.
All right. So with that, thank you everybody for watching today, watching our show. Thank you, Dr. O, for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Do you want to give out your socials one more time for the people out there?
Absolutely. You can find me on Facebook, Google, or Instagram at Through My Lens Consulting for Instagram, at Through My Lens Consulting Services on Google or Facebook. I'll be the one in a yellow blazer and a smile.
There we go.
There you go. Also, please check out Bubs Naturals. Use our code DSP20. Get 20% off your order.
Yep.
We'd really love it. So do that.
Coffee, real quick.
Use this MCT oil powder.
They also
it's
got
great
really
for
good.
Your mind.
They got coffee.
Great for your body and soul. Sustained energy, brain fuel, right there.
Yep.
All right. And also check out our merch. And don't forget to check out the link tree and check out any of our Google Drive that we have with all of the materials, apps, some sheets that you can fill out. Stuff like that. And don't forget to tip because Nas put some time and work into that.
Drop them dollars on me.
Little dollars. Dollar bill, y'all. God. Stripper name for Nas.
Meat and cheese.
Oh my.
I'm dead. Yeah.
Mocha Lightning. Let's call him Mocha Lightning. We'll call him Mocha Lightning.
Called diabetes.
Oh my God. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Spencer. That's Nas. This is the Different Spectrums podcast. Bye.
Much love, people. Peace.